morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Life Expansion. I'm Jason Stephenson, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here right at this moment, right today, right now. And today we'll be speaking on mindfulness versus mindlessness, and also we'll run through a guided meditation, a mindfulness meditation, just to experience what it's going to be like to be in the now. And so first I will welcome you all on the live stream, hoping that you can hear me okay, and I'll wait for a thumbs up there. And for those of you that are not watching on the live stream, that are watching the replay, thank you very much for joining me too. It's a pleasure to have you here. And you'll notice my new backdrop, and you can see the bit of the seagull there. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon. I'll say hello to a few names here that I can see. I'll say hello, Brianna, and oh, whoa, it's going fast. Bonnie and Tanya and Maddie, Madeline, Eva, Nell, Claire, Barbara, welcome. Anne, welcome. Good to see you too. Hello, Chloe and Giza. I'm well, thank you. Hey, Joel, lovely to see you. And Carol. And Dharma is here. He's covered up. It's a cold day today again. Very, very windy. Very windy. I mean, I knew this was coming, so we're doing really well. Really well. I've had a great week. Last week was a bit of a, one of those ones that really, since they see it doesn't go your way, and it's like that's the problem, is when we try and make things go our way or want things to go our way, and when it doesn't, it plays with us. And so yeah, it was a bit of a rough week last week, but I'm back on track. Hello, Alice, and you're most welcome. Just breathe through this, Tanya. You can breathe through this. Just nice deep breaths. Hi, Molly. Hello, Jolanda. It's lovely to see you. Yeah, I thought I'd change up the backgrounds. I'll change them every now and then. It's a bit of a break. Hello, Deborah. Good evening from Gloucestershire. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but well, good evening to you from Peterborough, South Australia. Yay, Dharma. Yes, I've heard, Rain, about the Mercury in retrograde. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. I don't go too much into that, but I know that people have been talking about that. So I think it was a bit of a learning curve for myself, just to recognize how I allow outside external things to affect me, when it's all coming from within me. It's all within me. It's no one else to blame out there. And that was one of my really big lessons for me. It was just realizing, wow, okay, where's all this coming from? Where's this coming from? So good on you, Madeline. You wrote an album of songs. Congratulations to you. We're both doing some writing. I'm doing some writing too. It's good to know you're doing writing. That is awesome. Good luck, and I hope it turns out well for you, Madeline. Can I turn the sound up? Sound of my volume of my voice? I can certainly do that. I'll just wait till, I think you were talking about that, the sound of my voice. I might just turn it up a bit. There we go. Just let me know if that's a bit better for you. We'll work it out. Sound is low. Have my volume right up. Barely hear you. Okay, let me just fix this up here. Thank you for that. Okay, we can do something here. What about now, guys? It's probably going to be too loud now. Let's just see. Way better. Okay. Thank you very much for better. Awesome. Thank you very much for letting me know, guys. I appreciate that, and I'll keep it at that volume from this point, so we won't have a problem. Hello, Amanda. Great. Thanks, Kat. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about mindlessness or mindfulness versus mindlessness, and I've got some notes here that I want to share with you, and I want to share with you some examples of my experiences of coming from these mindless states to mindfulness. And first of all, let's get clear what mindfulness is. And mindfulness is, it's, as Eckhart Tolle says often, it's being in the now, being in the present moment. But it's much more than that. It's much deeper than that. It's also being in that present moment with full awareness and acceptance of the present moment and without judgment. And that's the tricky one, because us humans are constantly judging, and we're judging actually on autopilot. We don't even know we're doing it. We're judging each other. We're judging food. We're judging one day to the next. We're judging weather. We constantly judge weather. What a bad day. What a good day. That person's a bitch. He's an ass. That one's blah, blah, blah. He's stuck up. This person's that. We just do it constantly. So to be in the moment without judgment, it's a little more difficult than what we think. Just to be in that present and to be fully accepting of what is being presented to us. So this is where meditation and mindfulness is a beautiful thing, because we also begin to recognize when we're making judgments, and we can look internally, and we begin to allow more compassion to unfold, because we're recognizing, oh, that's a thought, that's a judgment. Wow, they just sort of slip in there. So we live in, we are virtually mindless all of the time. We're mindless. Now, I'm not saying that you're a mindless person and I'm a mindless person. I'm not meaning that, but we're operating on this mindless autopilot level, and this is simply due to subconscious programming that stems way back from ages 0 to 7. That's when we've taken in. That's when a lot of it has already been formed from that very young age. Even prenatally, they say that the baby in the womb is, getting the stress levels from the mother. So it's already beginning to happen from within the womb, and then from 0 to 7, when we're just like sponges. And at that age, we can't distinguish between truth and not truth, and so we take it all in, we zap it all in as truth, and so it ends up becoming our reality and our thought processes that we begin to carry through for the rest of our lives, until we begin day by day to become more aware of this program tape that is running all the time. And mindfulness is that beautiful gift where we can begin to reprogram it. We can begin to recognize that we've been operating on these subconscious beliefs, and we can begin to say, hey, where does that come from? And I would recommend to guys, if any of you want to dive deeper into this, Dr. Bruce Lipton, his work is amazing. I'll type this in here. And I'm also going to type in and Byron Katie, and her work is called The Work. And if you Google that, you will go to her page, and her page, it's free. You can download the worksheets, and she begins to tap into this programming that we, externally we're putting everything outside there, we're blaming everything outside there, but when we go back in, draw it back in, and we take a look inside, it's all a reflection, it's all coming from us. We are creating our own reality. So this is the beauty of mindfulness meditation, and this helps us as well. This awareness helps us. So for instance, in regards to that, I'm just reading some of the messages here. Yes. Yeah, really, please check out those guys. Please check them out, Bruce Lipton, and I love that man dearly. He makes a lot of sense to me. And also Byron Katie is absolutely phenomenal. She's beautiful. There's probably been many times for you guys, and there certainly has for me, where getting in the car is the perfect example. Getting in the car and putting on the seatbelt and being mindfully present at the start. You get in the car, put on the seatbelt, start the car up, begin to driving along, and then all of a sudden, bang, it switches over. It's like you've changed the gear from awareness to non-awareness to autopilot. And bang, you've switched it into autopilot mode, and you keep driving, and you can be driving for 20 minutes or an hour, wherever you're going, and you will not recall any of that entire drive by the time you get to the point B. And have you guys had that happen to you? I know I have. And sometimes it's all the way to Sydney. There might be glimpses of mindful moments where you come back in and be truly aware, but then out we go again, zoning out. And we miss a lot. We miss a lot of the beauty around us too. Not to mention, it makes you wonder how many less accidents would occur if we were mindful. And of course, we can't be mindful all the time. I get that. We can't be. We'd be, it's too much. Yeah, Eva, switching channels in your head, exactly. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, I agree. Amanda, he's absolutely brilliant as well. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. Welcome, MSW88. Thank you. Welcome. So, basically, mindfulness versus mindlessness is a reminder to take time to stop and smell the roses. And I know that is an absolute cliche, totally a cliche, but damn it, how true is it? Where are we all going? What's the destination? The final destination, we're not going to escape this, is certainly death, a death of our bodies anyway. Our bodies will finish at the end of our time. How long that time is, we don't know. But that's the final destination. So we need to sometimes stop and ask and go, wow, what are we doing? We're doing lots. Sometimes we're just like a rat on the treadmill, going round and round and round. Just looking at my notes here. So what I'd like to do is just share with you a couple of times when I was come into a situation where I was totally mindless, and then it kind of converted into mindfulness, if you like. It was Groundhog Day. It was a typical day for me about 30 years ago. and I was travelling on the train from Wollongong to Sydney. And I did this for a number of years, and I was going to a job that I was only half interested in. It was a job, it was pay, but I was there. And for some reason, halfway along this trip on the train, I had this urge to get off, to leave the carriage at this little station called Otford. And there's nothing at Otford. Absolutely nothing. There was lots of forest. There was a Royal National Park right up the top, but nothing there. And I remember saying to my commuter friends, I said, I'm getting off the train here. And they looked at me and said, what do you mean? What are you getting off here for? You're crazy. What about work? And I just said, I don't know. I don't know about work, but I have to go. I have to get off here now. I've got this urge. And they're looking at me like, you've lost it. You have lost it. Anyway, so I followed that gut. I followed that gut feeling, and I got off the train. And here I am in my black long pants for work, my white long sleeve shirt, my black shiny shoes without any tread on them at all, slippery as anything, and the backpack on. And I began to scramble up this hill, grabbing onto roots, that I could, anything to get me up this hill, slipping and sliding everywhere. Had no idea what on earth I was doing, but I was just doing it all the same. And I got to the top and then saw the sign to the Royal National Park. And so I thought, okay, I'm here, I'm going there. That's where I'm going to go. So I went for a walk through the Royal National Park, and saw it was beautiful just to be in there, to be in that environment. And finally I reached this large rocky outcrop that jutted out over this enormous valley, which had trees surrounding me, but on this side I had the ocean down there and the beach way down below. So you got to imagine this is just a pristine place. So I decided then and there that I would take my backpack off and I would sit on that rock. And I sat there, and it was the first time in as many years that I finally caught myself consciously breathing. I was stopped and I was breathing, and I could hear my breathing. It was so quiet. If you talk about being mindfully present, that was it. But something magical, even deeper, happened that day that probably changed my life for right through. These waves of peace began to wash over me, like beyond peace, ecstasy, if you like. Waves of ecstasy were just pouring through me, and it was like everything in that moment, all my family, my friends, my love that I felt, the happiness, my future, my past, my present, the entire universe was within me, and the birds and the nature, and it was like I was fully connected to everything, every single thing in that present moment. And I still get goosebumps when I talk of this, because it just sends me back there again and again and again. And it must have lasted 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, I don't even know. But I know it was the most powerful thing that just ever washed over me. And as quick as it started, it ended, it finished, it all went away. And I remember looking around and wanting to just yell out, what, like, did anyone else feel that? Did anyone else feel, what was that about? No words to describe it. And anyway, I put on my backpack, and as I was walking back, I was going back to the train. I was going back to tell my mum and dad. And I went back to the train, but as I was walking back, a decision it swept over me, and I just said, I've been living someone else's dream. I've been making someone else's dream. It's time to begin to make my own. And so I began to I realized then that my dreams of wanting to be an actor or wanting to sing and present and be creative and write, everything like that, I'd been neglecting it, and that was about to change. I went back to Mum and Dad, and I got home and I was so fired up to tell them. And I said to Mum, I saw Mum first. I said, Mum, like something amazing's just happened. Like, honestly, I was at the Royal National Park, and I was sitting there, and this energy, these waves of energy and peace just washed over me. I have no idea. And first thing Mum says is, what are you doing here? Why aren't you at work? Like, no, Mum, like, you got to listen. And then she just looked at me like really strangely. She's just like, okay, Jay, yeah, that's good, sounds good. It's like, but no one could understand. I mean, no one can get it. But anyway, the next day I went to work, and I went straight to the boss's office, and I knocked on his door and said, John, that I want to work for your company, but I'll only work 1 day a week or 2 days a week maximum. I feel like I need to now branch out into my dreams. And he said, well, we can't have you doing that, because if you want to do that, he said, everyone else will want to do that, and it doesn't work that way. And he said, I'll tell you what. He said, how about we offer you $100 cash a week extra on top of your wage? Now, back then, 30 years ago, $100 cash a week was very, very, very good money. But I knew nothing that he could offer me would change my mind. I knew that it was in my heart that I had to do my work. And so I said, look, I've loved working for you, but it has to finish. So thank you very much. And so, of course, I went on, and fast forward 30 years, here I am today, doing what I love and being rewarded and being richly rewarded for consciously breathing again and for sharing, for teaching, facilitating others to consciously breathe again. So life works in mysterious ways, hey? Now, I'm not saying that ecstasy moment or anything like that, awakening, that's not to do with the mindfulness, and we should never strive to achieve anything, because mindfulness is not about that. That's not what mindfulness is about. Mindfulness is about being still. And the first part of that story, of that conscious breath, that was the first part of being mindful. Yeah, I had to follow my dream. Yeah. Hey, Christian. Welcome, mate. My age then, Eva, I was in my, I was going to say early 20s. I actually think it was younger than that. It could have been like 19. It could have been 20. Yeah, it was about 30 years ago anyway. Yeah. And so I'd like to share another time where I was mindless and into mindfulness. And it's when, this was probably about, this would be close to 20 years ago now. And I was attending a Buddhist monastic retreat. And back then I was pretty, kind of messed up. My head was messed up. You could say I was very mindless, rare moments of mindfulness. And I decided to go on this retreat, this monastic retreat. It was a strict monastic retreat. And I had to, they said, you have to get your hair shaved, wear the robes, 2 meals a day, silence, strict, no talking, silence for 10 days, full monastic conditions. Even when you meditate, if you began to fall asleep, they would hit you on the back with a clapper stick to awaken you. So if they see you that you're beginning to drift off, bang, like that. But anyway, my first day there, they gave me my robes and they explained to me how to put them on. And me in my mindless state just sort of said to the Buddhist monk, I just said, yeah, just give me the robe, I'll be right. Yeah, I'll know how to do this, sure. So he gave me the robe and no problem. The first day came, morning time, 5:30 a.m., freezing cold morning. And we had to walk in single file up this narrow track, and there was like 50 of us to the main shrine. And you've got to imagine it was just freezing. And I did not know how to put on my robe properly. And so I was just sort of hitching it over here, pulling it up between my legs. I had no idea. And I'm like, because I wasn't paying attention, right? I wasn't mindful at all. And so what happened was, as I was walking, it began to fall off me, and the guy behind me, he began to tread on it, and it began to rip out from under my legs. So it was pulling out here, began to fall off here. Then I began to trip up on the front part of it as well. And the Reverend come around and she said, Jason, you'll need to be more mindful getting dressed tomorrow. And that was one of my first mindfulness lessons, serious mindfulness lessons. It was a very interesting time. I felt like, Whoopi Goldberg from Sister Act, like getting dressed up as the nun. It's like I was trying to be something and I just couldn't be it. I won't forget that day. Yeah, the no talking all day is really, really challenging in itself, I can tell you. No, it wasn't a good start, let me tell you. My background's different, Christian. Yeah, I put something up different just for a change. You're mindful. You're being mindful, mate. But it was very interesting, and the beauty about the silence of remaining silence is you are then faced, and because you don't communicate with anyone, you are then faced with your own self, and it's like an intense time. And I've talked about this before, but the first 3 days of that retreat brought up a lot of anger for me that I didn't even know existed inside me. I was picking out little bits and pieces of things that they were giving and doing, and that were frustrating me. And I was like, bloody monks, who do they think they are? Like, I was an angry little bean. And of course I couldn't express it, so I was so it's all just me, it's all these feelings, nothing to do with them. They gave me this job, and we had tasks to do 4 hours a day. And one of my first tasks, they said, was you're going to clean the railings, Jason, the temple railings. And there's miles of railings, miles and miles. And they gave me a bucket of water, and they gave me this toothbrush. And they said, you're going to begin. And I looked at them and the toothbrush, and I said, are you serious? Like, why would I clean all the railings with this small toothbrush? I'll never get it done. And she just looked at me and she said, just begin. And so this brought up more feelings again of anger and like, what am I doing here? This is crazy. These monks think they know everything. Bloody monks. It's just like, I was furious. So I began scrubbing with the bucket of water and the toothbrush, and I'm like taking my anger out. I'm frustrated. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'll never get anything done. Who do they think they are? After about 2 hours of that, it had to dissolve. Couldn't go anywhere else. And so what ended up happening was I began again to catch myself being mindful for the first time. Something happened, and I sunk into the fact that here I am. I might as well be present, like I'm here. So I began to be present with the duty of just cleaning with this toothbrush. So much so that I got so involved that I remember there were little tiny spiders in crevices. I would get the little spiders out so I wouldn't harm them, and I'd clean around the crevice, and then I'd put the little spider back. And it became this, it clicked for me as to what this was all about. It was just about being present without judgment and with awareness. And when we do that, it just opens our world up to a lot of love, a lot of compassion and peace. So they're my experiences, my early experiences of mindfulness. And Giza says it. I've been like that I've been living like that in Hawaii. No communication for days, and everyone you know lives on the other side of the globe. Yeah. And Christian meditation vacation. Would you agree that when people listen to meditations and have bad dreams, that is a releasing process subconsciously? I think so, Christian. I think people tend to blame the meditations. I've had that, and I'm sure you've had that. People say, oh, I hated this, it gave me bad dreams. Well, I don't think anything really gives us bad dreams. I think it's, it's what's going on within us. And yeah, the meditation, the quietening of the mind is that bringing forward and releasing, as you say, subconsciously. I agree with that totally. And Juliana, how do you know when you're making the right decision on the right path? I think we're making the right decision on the right path is when we are just present. No matter what decision that we make, it is right, because we're in the now. We're doing what we're doing what we know from our past. We're here in the moment, and so we have to embrace that. And whatever decision we make, that's what we make in the moment. So that makes sense that is the right decision at that moment, because you're only coming from a place of what you know best at any given point in time. And so if you are present in the moment, if you're making that decision not based on fear, but you ride with that, and however it turns out, that's not up for you to decide at that point in time. We just take this moment by moment, and that's all we can do. Hello, Ali. Welcome. Yes, Giza is squeezing the orange and waiting for something else to come out other than the orange juice. Absolutely. Yeah. You're most welcome, Amanda. Yeah, good point. Our decisions do change at different times, and we have the right to change our mind too, I might add, on a moment-to-moment basis. We have that absolute right to change our mind. It's like preparation of a speech or presentation, and you might have been practicing it for months, and then you get there, you get up on stage or on the platform, wherever you're presenting, and you can change that then and there and allow that to happen, because that is the present moment and that's unfolding at that time. And almost to block that is really then going against your path, because it might be that moment that you're called to say that, and somebody needs to hear that, or somebody needs that. So I'm a true believer in that. Madeline, during homework, I don't blame you for dozing off during homework, to be honest. You're doing a good thing. No. Don't tell the teacher I said that, right? Sometimes we're just tired. Sometimes we need to sleep. And it might be a sign that you might need to sleep. The brain can get really tired sometimes. And it might be to have a quick nap and then come back to that really fresh. But I hear you. I hear you. I'm pretty sure I did the same thing many times. Okay, so I say we do just a little piece of a guided meditation, and so we can be present just for these few moments. And remember, this practice of meditation and mindfulness is, or especially the formal sitting practice like we're about to do now, this is where we take the experience of what happens here whilst we're sitting, and this begins to spill over into all areas of our lives, so we can be mindfully present no matter what we're doing. We catch ourselves being more and more aware rather than operating on that autopilot. This is why each day I'm truly loving my meditation practice more and more. I don't know about you guys, and I don't practice for hours on end. Usually practicing morning times now, and I used to do it always night times. Night times mainly I go to sleep with audio books now. I've kind of reversed things. But I consider that a meditation practice within itself. But yeah, my morning practices now, I'm just getting more and more and more out of them. So, and it's beautiful now because my whole team of staff, we do meditation as well, 5 days a week. Before my team begins their workday, we all on a Zoom call, and we all do a mindfulness meditation, or sometimes we do a mantra meditation, and it's beautiful. We're all getting the benefits of it, and there are many benefits, many benefits. So let's begin. Hello Lisa, welcome. Okay, let's begin. Let's sink into this delicious present moment where we don't have to do anything, we don't have to go anywhere, we can just simply be for these next few minutes. And as we've been talking about this awareness and judgment, when these thoughts come up during this meditation, just recognize if you're even judging yourself, because sometimes we judge ourselves for having these thoughts. We might be making judgments on another person, but then we attack ourselves and we judge ourselves, saying, I shouldn't be having that thought. So just be aware of this, and whatever thoughts arise, you can just say that's a thought, and then simply go back to that breathing. So sitting there with your back up straight, your feet on the floor, or if you're lying down in bed, that's okay. Hands you can put on your lap, and you can have your palms facing upwards. Sometimes you might want to even clasp your hands like that. Whatever's comfortable for you right now. It's all good. Let's just take in a few grounding breaths first, in through the nose and out through the mouth, really bringing ourselves into this present moment. Sending that breath all the way down. And returning your breath. Nothing controlled, just a regular breathing pattern, whatever feels comfortable for you. And breathing in and out through your nose. And finding the best focal point for you to recognize this breath. And that might be the entrance and exit of the breath through your nostrils. And feeling the temperature going in and the temperature going out. And just noticing if there's any difference in the air temperature going in and out. For some of you, it might be easier to feel the rise and fall of the belly. The rise as the air goes in, belly begins to expand a little, and when the air deflates, it contracts. That might be an easier part to focus on, whatever's comfortable for you, and use this as your anchor point to come back to. Keeping present, and if that mind wanders, just to acknowledge that and to put out that red carpet for any thoughts that come and go. You don't have to follow where they lead, but just acknowledge that, and you returning then back to your breathing. Seeing if you can follow the full path of the breath as it travels through your nostrils, down the back of your throat, down your spine, right down towards your belly. And then as it's released, it goes back up again. Just see if you can mindfully be aware of the full entire length of your breathing. There's nothing you have to do here. You only have to be present, just be. moment by moment by moment. Breath by breath by breath. And remembering to allow a gentleness to unfold if these thoughts come up for you and if they continue to come up for you. That this is a beautiful part of the meditation process. It's unfolding perfectly as it should, and you're not doing anything wrong. In fact, if you're catching these thoughts, if you keep bringing your mind back, this is the perfect experience of meditation. Letting go. Letting go. Going to speak a few affirmations, and you can allow these affirmations to unfold in your mind. And if you don't feel called to do anything with these affirmations, that's okay too. Just keep focusing on your breathing. I love and accept myself. I love and accept myself. I am open to all of life's possibilities. I am open to all of life's possibilities. Right here, right now, I'm stepping into the flow of life. Right here, right now, I'm stepping into the flow of life. I am richly rewarded in all areas of my life. I am richly rewarded in all areas of my life. My pathway to acceptance is love. My pathway to acceptance is love. I honor and respect all that I am. I honor and respect all that I am. I honor and respect all around me. I honor and respect all around me. I am a magnificent part of this beautiful earth. I am a magnificent part of this beautiful earth. I am enough. I am enough. Coming back to your breathing. Taking in some deeper breaths. Coming back to your surroundings. Feeling your feet on the floor. Feeling the weight of your hands in your lap. Gently rolling your shoulders. When you are ready, opening your eyes and welcoming back and stretching out. Welcome back. Dharma was enjoying that too. You're welcome. Precious Dharma, you're most welcome. It's always an honor to have you here. To have you here and to meditate with you, wherever you are in the world. It's just a joy. It's a joy. You're most welcome. Dharma. most welcome. Helen says, had to sort out my wet hair just out of the shower. We'll join meditation on replay. You're welcome. Go back to the replay anytime you like. Does feel powerful, doesn't it? Meditating together. And it's a reminder that we are all linked together, right? We are all connected. This just proves it. We're in our own separate rooms, yet we're all connected. We sense something. We sense something greater than just the words on the screen. We know there's a connection there, a deeper connection. I'd also like to shout out and say thank you to Anne Gret for sending me a beautiful sloppy Joe, as we call it. And I've been wearing it this week, and it might be a bit grubby, but it's have a cup of positivity and here in vitality. And made this one. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I love the colour too. I love the colour. Thank you. So with that, guys, I send you all the love in the world, and I look forward to our next time together. And again, I will say my apologies for not coming on last week for those that turned up. I am sorry about that. But that won't be happening too often. So God bless you all, guys, and have a beautiful week ahead. A beautiful Friday, Thursday night for some of you. Have a lovely sleep, and just go with love. Okay, God bless. Namaste.